Well, hello everyone. It is Saturday, the 20 something of August. And I have a few plushies to share with you. It's been a long week and I don't have a whole lot. I had to make 2 trips to the airport, one to drop John off, one to pick him up. His flight coming back was delayed by an hour and a half, so it put me right in the middle of the 5 o'clock traffic in Tampa to go to the airport. It ended up being almost 4 hours round trip. I was like, next time, tell them you want a red-eye flight, because I'd rather get up and drive in the middle of the night than sit in that stop and go 2-mile-an-hour traffic through Tampa on 275. It is just unbelievable. There's never really a good time to drive through Tampa on the interstate. So anyhow, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, like 5 different patterns that I played with this week. Not my usual big cluster of stuff to show, but I have multiples of those that I did instead of one on, one and one and one. So I started off the week, I want to say Sunday, and I decided to make some gummy bear, bag charms, keychains, whatever, and I did like a rainbow. So I have orange, and this one is a free pattern with a video here on YouTube. So I have orange and then light pink and a dark purple, a light purple, forgive the lighting in here, a yellow, and a green, and then a light blue. So I have a rainbow. So I have a rainbow of gummy bear charms. Then the next thing I worked on was a paid pattern. And I know there's lots of like free ones that you can get on Instagram and all that, but sometimes you just like to support the fellow crocheter and get a paid pattern. So this one is called a pocket penguin. I did it in pink because at the time I made these, I was still waiting for my white. So like the pattern says to do this part of the eye in white, but I did it in light pink and then the hibiscus pink, I think it is. But it's the pink that I really like. Toby, you better behave. No. Dude. Oh, he's such a rotten little thing. So, so I have it in the pink. Then I did one in purple. And this is all no-sew, if I remember right. And then I did a blue. So then I wanted to see, well, what would the size difference be if I did it in Bernat Blanket versus the Parfait Chunky? So with the exception of the black, I used Bernat Baby. And on this one, I used the Baby Sparkle. I don't know if the little sparkle is showing up in there. I'm not sure how I feel about the sparkle yet, but that is the size difference there. It's just, I don't know, it still amazes me of how same amount of work and it comes out so much bigger and uses so much more stuffing. Speaking of stuffing, I needed to get some polyfill, and Jenna was down in Dade And so there was a Hobby Lobby there. And I had told her, I said, the last time I was in there, they had these big boxes, like 5 pounds, I think, for $14.99. So I gave her some money and asked her if they still had it, would she pick it up for me? And so she got it. You open it up and it's like all compact. I mean, even to carry it, it doesn't feel like it's 5 pounds, but I think that's because the weight's like so evenly dispersed. But it feels different than the polyfill that you would get, say, in a bag at Walmart. It's, I don't know, it's like heavier, more dense, I guess. It just feels different. I mean, does anybody notice that? I mean, is there a difference in it? But it seems like it takes a whole lot more of this to make the plushie feel like it's full. If that makes any sense. I don't know. But anyhow, so I did the pocket penguins. And then I had also purchased a couple of other patterns from some sellers. So this is off of Etsy. I just, because on Etsy, I like purchase a lot from Etsy. This jelly pop. See, jellyfish that the thing pops up. And it is no-sew. It was very easy to do. So that I think the second go around with it will go even faster than the first, because whenever you're doing a new pattern, you have to keep looking back and looking back. But once you get like the basics of the pattern down, then it goes a lot faster. So I did that, and I don't know, I was kind of in a pop mood, but I bought like 3 different patterns from the same person. I believe it is, I'm not going to say because I'm going to get the name wrong, but I'll link it in the description below. But I bought 3, and this one is supposed to be a toadstool, and I kind of changed it a little. Not a lot, like just the coloring, made changes to it, and then added a little stem on the top to make it look more like a little strawberry. So if this was the actual pattern, it would be Tilly the Toadstool, but I did the top in the pink and gave it a little strawberry stem. So, but this one is funny because all the other pop patterns that I've gotten, everything's like, it's all no-sew. This one's a little different. So like you do the main part of the body, and up around here you have a row that you do back loop only so that it leaves the front loops. And then when you make this part, you're stitching it onto that where the front loops were. I mean, it wasn't hard to do, but it wasn't hard to do. It was just different from the others. So at first I was a little confused, and actually it was really just as easy as the others because it was marked for you with having the front loops open. This is where it gets sewn onto. So that's Tilly the Toadstool in a strawberry costume. Then I went and I've started to get some of the pictures back. So I'm waiting for 3 people to give me feedback and send me pictures of their hedgehogs. So the first person like 2 people did it overnight. And the first person that I got a response from, there's like 10 people doing this, was like super, super helpful. She had a lot of suggestions like formatting and, when something should be like maybe in bold so that it catches your attention. And her hedgehog turned out really cute. The second person that I got the picture back from, or yeah, the picture and some feedback, she mentioned some typo. Like I said, to attach the ears, 2 rows behind the ears, and I meant to say eyes. But she caught that. Yeah, because when you're doing it yourself, you know what it's supposed to say, so you may not necessarily catch something like that. And obviously, because it's not a misspelled word, then your program that you're typing it up in isn't telling you that something's wrong. So, and we need other humans. And usually I don't catch my own mistake unless I have printed it out. And then it's like, oh. So you go fix it and you print it again. And you can't ever find all the mistakes all at the same time. Never. It never works like that. So it's always one at a time. But I wasn't super happy with my pictures that I was trying to take because the lighting was terrible. So I started to work on making another hedgehog so that I could get the pictures to try and explain how to do this fluff. And so I made another one, and this one I had to spend 2 days because like I lost lighting. I was going outside, I know, and taking the picture and then come back inside to work on it and then go back outside to take the picture just to have the natural lighting to try and make it better. So I got to the point where I lost my lighting and I had to stop and then pick up the next day when it was time for me to be able to work on my crocheting. So we have another hedgehog. And in case you didn't see the last video, this was the first one. Now both of these are made from Parfait Chunky. And as with all yarn, there's always that one color that is thicker than the others. And this cream is a lot thicker than this, I think is seafoam, I think. But, so it turned out just a little bit longer, I think, than this one did. But so I had another one so that I could get new pictures. And like I said, I'm just waiting on these couple of people. And once I have that and I can finalize any changes, get everybody the revised copy that participated, and then if everything looks good, we should be good to go. So you guys, there's just a few of you. I'm not going to call out any names because I don't want to put anybody on the spot, but get your pictures and feedback in. And then we can do a tester appreciation video. So I was watching Crafty Sue 519. She does a lot of paper crafting, but on Wednesdays, she has a Plushie Wednesday. And so I was watching her video from Wednesday, and she had these cute cats, and she did a rainbow of them. And I was like, I really liked them. They just looked super simplistic and cute. I liked them. So I hunted down the pattern. She said it was from Southern Gal Crochet, and it was a free pattern. So I got the pattern, and I sat down yesterday, and this was the first one. So the way this pattern is done, it's like really easy, but you do have sewing. She says to sew on these little nubs of feet, which is just your magic circle and 2 rounds total of 6 single crochets, and you don't stuff it or anything. And I was like, there's got to be a way you can do that and just use a bobble stitch and avoid that sewing. Now you can't avoid sewing on the tail. You need that, you have to sew on, but that's like really easy to do, the tail. I mean, these are easy too, but it's like, why if you don't have to, right? So I set myself on a mission to try and figure out what stitches to put the bobble stitches in and have it come out looking similar to when you just sew them on. So I started over, I picked another color and I started over, and when I examined this, I'm like, okay, if we put it on row 12 and we use this stitch and this stitch, we should get close. So I did it in blue and worked my way all the way up to the top before you get to the closing, and then I was like, no, the little paws are off. So I pulled it out down to where the little legs are, and this side over here, I felt like it needed to be moved over, because originally I was like, well, if I do this one first, then when I come back around, I can do the other one. So it was a little like higher, but a little too far back. So I pulled that out and I said, well, let me try the first stitch of the row and then the 11th stitch of the row, and I thought it came out pretty good. So if you are doing this cat pattern on round 12, the first stitch and the 11th stitch, if you make it into a bobble, you won't have to sew on the little paws or nubby legs, whatever they are. But he turned out pretty cute. Then I said, oh, well, let's make one in honor of Toby and have an orange cat. So we did an orange one. And again, using the bobble versus sewing on the two little stubby legs. So those three. And then what will the size difference be if I do it in Bernat blankets? So Jenna went to Joann's. She wanted to make herself one of those fleece blankets, you know, where you cut it and you tie the two different sides together. So she picked up the Bernat Baby Sparkle, and one of the colors was this yellow. So I did this chubby cat. Look how big he is. He's like as big as my head. Same amount of stitches. It just, I don't know, it just blows my mind that the difference in the sizes. So this thing's like twice the size of this. But it still looks cute even in the big yarn. And I still did the bobble for the little nubby legs. And I can say though that I'm not sure like how I feel about the the sparkle. I mean, it's got some nice sparkle in there, but I tried two different hooks. I tried a metal hook and a plastic hook, and there was just so much drag, so much friction on it that it was difficult for me. I mean, it wasn't impossible, obviously, because I got it finished, but it made it a lot harder to like pull the yarn through. And I'm sure that's because we're using smaller size hooks than what the yarn calls for to do these amigurumi toys with it. But it was very, very difficult, a lot of drag. So I have mixed feelings about it. It's pretty, but I found it hard to work with. Now, I don't know if I went up another hook size, because I did this one with a 6.5. If I went up to a 7, would that lessen the drag? But then would I end up with a bunch of holes? I don't know. I'm not sure. So that's my makes for this week. Wasn't super productive, but there was a whole lot of other things going on. My air, an update in case anybody is curious, still is not working. You might hear the little window shaker in the background. I have this one over here turned off because it was so loud. I turned off the fan so that I could do this real quick, and I gotta hurry up so I can turn it back on before it warms up too much in here. But they showed up Thursday morning. I didn't even know they were coming. And they got the wrong part. Can you believe that? They got the wrong part. And I'm like, are you kidding me? So the guy says, well, usually when it's their mistake, meaning wherever they order the parts from, that they'll expedite the shipping. And I'm like, well, they need to overnight that crap. Well, of course, you know, they overnight it, but it's going to come after hours. And, you know, God forbid anybody work the weekend, but supposedly Monday. And I'll believe it when I see it. But that's my air condition update. And I waited to the end to tell you about it because, you know, all the mean girls making their little comments. So it's funny how we thought we left the mean girls behind in high school, but they're still out there. They haven't changed. They're still out there. So anyhow, that's my thing. That is my plushies for the week, my AC update, that's just like my everything for the week. So I'm going to bid you farewell, and we will see you over here in the next video.